Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what do you mean?
So, we have a moment in time, a present moment disturbance.
Yeah.
So we have the who, the what, the when, the where.
Yeah. So
that moment is a moment that happened to the body. So if you've got no idea, like a next question, then just take it to the body. Starting from an associated point of view, where you're going, well, you're not feeling it like right now to the same degree, which means you can look back on it, which is why she can say that when you ask her. Yes, it might still be there to some degree. Do you follow?
Yes, so there's...
So what you're going to do is take it to the body, in bed, what time? What time?
9.
9 o'clock. So take it to the body and then find out what's going on.
Alright, let's go to the cards. Okay, so if I get you to come and stand at
feel
the...
the microphone's not working.
Okay. Well, it really is different. Dominique, if I get you to come and stand on the associated cards. And just looking out as you recall that incident this morning, but you're here in this present moment. So there would be some element of that feeling inside of you here.
Except that
As you
what
talk
you
about
do
it.
first is just going, what's the body doing?
Okay, and
So
then
the body's going to be lying in a bed. Yes? So go to the body.
okay, so I'll get you to go round to the body.
Then work out what's going on that's not a body just lying in the bed. Which is what she's describing.
Okay, and then as you think of that moment in time, just notice that your body is in the bed, it's not doing anything. It's just being there.
Yeah.
So if you notice that external to internal difference. So you've got a body in the bed, but it's just there.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
no external disturbance.
Yeah, no external disturbance
Yeah.
there. Mm-hmm.
So it's good to come back to associate, look at the body, and then go, okay, there's nothing going on externally, what's going on internally?
Okay, so looking at that, if your body's not doing anything, there's nothing external going on, there's something happening internally. So internally, there's a sense of not really wanting to move, but the disturbance is that I can feel that, I'm not just lying down, happy to be in bed. There's a lot of things that I could be doing, but there's kind of, what's the point in doing anything, really? And that's disturbing. Thank you. So there's this mismatch of, I could be doing this, yet here I am doing nothing.
Have we got
Not wanting
have
to
we
do
got a
anything.
card for that? Have we got a card for nothing?
So this dissociated,
No. What's a card that sounds, looks like everything to do with inaction? Not able. If you can't move, what do we call that?
paralysis.
And do we have a card for that?
Yeah. Okay. So inaction and paralysis.
And just, for those looking, and you, they're not handrails unless you know them.
Mm.
Do you follow?
Which is why they've got flavours: anger, criticism, intimidation. So anything resembling those three things: fear, paralysis, abandonment. And can you see why you've got to have those as the coat hangers, so that when she says not doing anything, oh, that's paralysis. That's a body unable to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then remember when with Umna it was, well, there's a part that's angry. We've got a card for that.
Yep.
So your job is to be looking for which card's next, because of what she's describing. Because she doesn't know what cards are.
Okay, so this is like noticing, this is like helping the client to notice.
There's paralysis.
Mm.
Do you know what it's about? No.
The client doesn't.
Neither of you do at this stage. All you know is that there's paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
But
We know that for there to be paralysis, there has to be a part doing the paralysing. Because there's nothing physically stopping her body. She's not in a straitjacket. No one's got a gun pointed at her. Now, you see what I mean by coat hangers? As soon as you get one, it tells you about the other, because you can't have one without the other unless you don't know it's there. And that's what the cards are for. That's your job to know if there's paralysis, there has to be an internal part doing the paralysing. Yeah?
Okay.
Cool.
So where there's, because sometimes people will go into anger first, right?
Don't go anywhere that she isn't yet.
Yeah.
She hasn't mentioned anger. We're not interested in all the rest of the world. We're interested in her signals as they come out right now. And what you've got is paralysis. Now you're looking for, how did the body get paralysed? Because it's not external. And you know by definition there's an intimidating part that paralyses what expression would be. So that's what you want to look at. You can get her to come back to associated, look at the paralysis, and then go, well, which part of you's doing the paralysing? What do you want to be doing? So she's already mentioned that that's not the only thing going on. Yeah?
Okay. All right. All right.
And don't worry about that you're feeling like you don't know where you...
Don't worry about that you don't feel like you don't know where you're going. Because you're in the same boat. So take off the hat of I'm meant to know what I'm doing here. Be a investigator with Dominique. And I'll help
Okay.
you.
I think that's where I'm getting hung up. It's like,
If you can't feel it, it's not working.
if I have to know where I'm going with this.
No.
Yeah.
That's what you want to get off.
Mm-hmm.
Let these do the work. Now, you're also new to this. It's okay. So is she. But just get curious about what's going on. Bring her back to associatedness to look at the paralysis and find out who's doing the paralysing. What wants to be expressed that can't. Yes?
Okay, Dominic, if I get you to come back to the associated card. So it's noticing where there's shutdown and paralysis in that moment. There'll be a part in there within you that's drawing you to do the paralysing or the shutting down. Do you know what that's about? I think that's what I said before. It feels like it's, what's the point in doing anything?
Excellent.
Do we have a card for doing things?
Yeah, they're expressive.
Exactly. Now you see how good the cards are. She said doing things, you know it's expression, so get her to go there and go, well, what would you be expressing? What would you be doing if there wasn't a part saying what's the point? And we already know,
Because it's process of elimination, that it's got to be this part. There's only three. This part's paralysed. This part wants to do stuff. It can only be that part. Can you see the beauty of the cards?
Yes.
This part's going, oh,
Yeah.
don't do it. What's the point? Forget it. Yes?
Mm.
But get her to experience all of it.
Okay.
Alright, so Darwin, I can hear you say there's a part that doesn't want to do something, and yet there's a part that says, yeah, sure, there's things that I want to be doing. Okay, if I could get you to stand on the expressive and sadness card, and if you could describe what are the things that part wants to do. So around there's a whole lot of things that I had on my list to do with stuff to do on the computer. I could have cooked something for coming here today. There was, the kitchen was a mess. I could clean it. I have sewing that I've been meaning to do and I haven't been doing. Yeah.
Your job is to get it to pick one, because that's me.
Okay.
Because you can only work with one thing at a time.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you're dealing with paralysis, the first, there will have been a moment of, I'm going to get out of bed. Oh, no, that one. There's probably a dozen after it. But start with the first one. First moment of paralysis.
Okay. Is there a moment? Oh, thank you.
Can you recall the moment where you went, I'm going to do, the first moment where you went, I'm going to do this, and then no, I'm going to stay in bed. The first one? I actually can't remember when the first one was. I think there was just a desire to get out of bed and not be in stuckness that I felt I was in.
Okay. Okay.
But there's a missing bit there.
What's the likelihood that she's going to get out of bed and just stand there and go, oh, this is good, I like it. I'm just standing next to the bed now. What's the likelihood?
Fairly low.
So, you want to notice the absence. Probably because someone who deals with paralysis has this thing of, I have no idea what to do with myself or my life or anything. Which means you might have to work on what tiny delicacy of something she might want to do, which might take you 15 sessions. But we're here, you're just going to ask, if you did get out of bed, what might you want to do? You see that grin?
Yeah,
Notice
so
how big it gets?
the
Because we're talking
mismatches are
about,
talking,
well, it might not be. It could be she's thinking about what she would like to do.
So this is a very condensed version then. So if you're talking about paralysis, we're not just talking about like fixing it in one session, right?
She's talking to you.
Yeah.
What?
This is a very condensed version, so we're not talking about...
You're doing the work right now.
fixing it
Forget
in
everything
one
I'm talking
session.
about that. It's just for you and I. You're doing this work with her now.
Okay. So if there was something that you wanted to get out of bed for, what would that be?
Excellent.
Good question.
Now,
Notice the mismatch.
don't assume it's a mismatch.
Okay.
Not all laughter is like. Can you see? This is not a paralysed face. It bursts into life. She has no idea, but a part of her's come to the party going, I want something. And when you ask about it, life happens. follow and find whatever this that's behind it that creates it that she's not aware of yet.
Okay.
I think it's a desire to not be to be fully expressive, to be in life and not feel like there's a weight that's stopping me from being. I'm gonna turn my phone off.
Okay.
Okay, I need help with the next section. So you notice that. So David, am I noticing the dissociative mechanisms for myself, or to?
As long as they're helping you along the way, absolutely.
Okay, so there's a wanting to express
What?
herself in life and to feel.
Yeah, that's only one moment, isn't it?
This morning, to get out of bed, what would that be? She's given you the whole box and dice. I want to be fully enlightened and a free human being and express myself fully. But this morning, just getting out of bed, what would have been the expression of that? If she had it, we know she didn't.
It would have been to be happy to be in bed.
Yes. Okay.
So, is it clear? She's lying in bed.
Yes.
She's lying in bed, right? She wants to express herself, just to have a Sunday morning, lie in bed. That would be what the body's doing.
Yep.
And she'd be going, oh, yes? That's not what's going on. So there must be another part. Yes?
Yeah.
And we know every time it goes up.
Intimidation, overriding expression, into paralysis, popping out, something.
Yeah.
Work to find out what that is.
Yeah, so we want to go into what is the intimidation
Exactly.
that's preventing the happy expression of just having a Sunday
Yeah.
morning in bed.
Yeah. Can you see it's simple detective work? If you can get your mind not to do all the other stuff it's doing and just the facts
Just
manage
be
the
there.
facts. Using this as a handrail.
Okay, so we're looking at the part that's shutting it down. There's a, so I've got Dominique to stand on the anger card where there's criticism and intimidation. So we're asking the client to tap into what is.
There's a part this morning.
There's a part this morning that makes it impossible for her to just lie in bed and enjoy it. Get her to work out in that moment what that part's doing. What is the criticism?
So I'm not sure whether it was the heaviness that's, affect heavy, and so not really like enthusiastic to do anything, or I'm not sure. did eventually get up.
Was that this pushing you?
No, it was just like a just get up and move.
Don't. Yeah. Oh, now, can you hear?
Yeah.
There's
just
a
get
part
up
going,
and-
just get up and move.
Mhm.
But that's not the moment she's asking you about. What was the who, what, when? One moment, in bed, wanting to just be lying in bed.
Yeah, just enjoy.
Now she's jumping from that to the part that goes, come on, that wins eventually and gets her to get up and go. Yes?
Because it feels better to be moving around, and it's like I'm achieving things. So
Yeah, fabulous. And the moment before that just disappeared, didn't it? Right now, that's not the moment that you bought. You didn't say, hey Kate, I had a fabulous time this morning. Eventually I got out of bed and did lots of stuff.
No.
No. So can you see she just disappeared from the moment, which maybe you need to write it down because you don't forget, which is the moment you're working with. Where she's lying in bed, wanting to just be lying in bed on a Sunday morning and a part. And can you understand? This is the part saying, you can't just lie here in bed. She's telling you about the moment where it won. Before that, it wasn't winning. And there's all this internal, because it's going, get up, and she's going, no, fuck off, I don't want to get up.
I think I know what that part.
and that I think the intimidating part is saying it is saying to move, but the one that before that's saying not to do anything is like, what's the point in doing anything if you're not really in it and happy and, you know, in anything that you're doing? And I'm coming back to what's the point?
There's a part saying, what's the point?
Yeah.
There's another part that's saying, you
Yeah, to
don't
move.
get confused between them, just have them interact.
Okay, so there's a part saying, what's the point?
Yeah.
And then there's the part that's saying, just get out of bed and go and do stuff.
Yeah.
Because doing stuff feels better to achieve rather than being shut down. Is that correct?
So, from having worked with Bhakti before,
You know,
now that
I can, I recognise him doing that before, is that he gets those two parts to actually have a conversation where they can fully say what's going on. So it's like having one part that, and then I get confused, I forgot what one part is and what the other one is.
So you stay on the ball relative to what she asked for in the first place.
So there's one that doesn't want to do anything, so one part that says don't do anything because what's the point in doing anything if you're not happy when you are, and the other part is saying you may as well get up and do something, whatever it is, because it will feel better than being in bed. And so the part of me that doesn't want to move, you know, would want to say to the other part that wants me to move, it's like it's all very well for you to to just go get up and do something, but it's actually not, you know, it's not really making me,
Here, just for this camera.
Oh, sure.
it's not making me feel happier. It's like it's not really solving not solving, but being open to what's really happening inside. I don't understand it.
Do you notice how intellectual that is? That's not coming from a triggered moment. It's take it back to associated. Can you see that's not happening in the bed at that
I
moment?
thought it was. Oh, from this.
I can't tell you enough. You find the nanosecond, you pause the video, and you do not move from that nanosecond, because all the other ones are accurate, and of course everything's interconnected, but you're working on one rabbit. She would like you to work on any other rabbit than that one, because it's the most uncomfortable one.
While you left, I was telling her that sometimes you get two parts to talk to each other, and that's what I was doing.
Exactly. So then do that. Work out, you know, exactly what's going on. But you're dealing with two moments. You know, I'm suggesting work with the moment. She can't just lie in bed and enjoy it. That was what you wanted to do, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether I'm in bed or getting up, I want to enjoy it. But I can't be in bed and
Can you
enjoy
hear it again? She's going to a million moments. When I get up, all right, we're talking about a moment this morning, which is like, what time was it?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. When she's in bed, she just wants to be in bed. Work with that one. Put the others, write them down if you need to. We'll work with that when we finish with this one. This is unbelievably good practice.
Yes.
Because, you know, you go, oh, how do you work with this? And I'm telling you, this is not easy to work with. Which is why you have to be surgical and just be working with the one thing, put all the other ones on the list. So that you're not ignoring them. Very important. Yeah, well, I'd like to be feeling like this when I'm up and out. Yeah, but we're working on when you're in bed. We'll do up and out after this. Yes?
Okay.
Inclusive whole.
So then we want to work out what it is exactly. What is the intimidating part? Saying to keep her there.
Keep her where?
Keep her in bed.
She said she wanted to be in bed,
To enjoy it.
to enjoy it. So,
Technically, like mechanically, here's a part wanting to express itself and be in bed and go and enjoy a Sunday morning just being in bed. Can't. Which means you've got to be exploring a part that says, no, you've got to get up, you've got to do things, you know. What's missing from this picture?
Is where that message comes from.
Well, that's training for later. She wants to be happy in bed. Is she happy in bed? No. Then there's got to be a part that's the reason why she can't just be happy in bed.
Okay.
So you're looking for what's stopping you from being happy in bed. And read, in the back of your head, what's stopping you from being happy ever. But you're not going there. That's where she'd like to take you. Yes? We're just going the moment this morning. Why can't you just be happy in bed? And if she's not happy, you can understand why there would be a part that says, don't go anywhere in there not happy. Get out of bed so that you don't have to be not happy. And can you see that self-distraction? And it works. She told you, well, I feel better once I'm out and out and I'm doing things. I'm distracted from not happy. What's the word for not happy? We've got a word for not happy, don't we? It's called sad.
Yeah.
Yes? Now do you see the structure? Help her get to where she can't go, which is sad. There's something about lying in bed that's sad, and there's a part going, no, you can't just be here. She go, well, I want to be happy, yeah, but I'm not, which means you've got to be sad, so you've got to start with sad, because you can't get to happy until you have a healthy relationship with sad. Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Okay, yeah, so that was about 10 steps ago where I had you other expressive.
Because this should all happen in one session, shouldn't it?
Okay, so let's look at what is it that hasn't been able to be expressed right in that moment.
It does feel like it's sadness, but I wouldn't know what I'm sad about.
Okay, is there maybe now I'm just guessing here, a lack of permission to just allow yourself to feel sad?
Looks easy when you see him do it, but
Yeah, it looks easy when you're watching David do it. So from there, I would potentially go to what was the training that happened that prevented that?
I think that's a big jump.
Yeah, I think so too. So we need some connectors.
My sense is that there would be a part stopping me from being sad.
You know, my sense is that there's probably a part stopping me from expressing sadness, but I also, it's like, what am I sad about? I don't know.
I have to wait for David. Maybe unless something pops up suddenly.
Yeah, so I can see why this wouldn't necessarily be a one session process, because it asks you to connect in, and I think of people who haven't been, don't have the awareness as such, we find it very difficult to tap into, immediately go, oh, okay, yes, I know what that was about.
Where is everybody online from? Floorcard, I think.
That's good. Where are you stuck?
We're stuck where. So we're trying to work with the sadness aspect, but the client won't necessarily know what the sadness is about, or can tap into it.
She's not happy in bed this morning. Explore what not happy is. Can you see that you take not happy and think that you know what it is? Do you have any idea what her not happy is?
No.
Find out.
Okay.
So, and this is just simple, what don't I know? Because eventually, what do you notice? You end up knowing everything. Your only job here is to just in a calm, cool, relaxed kind of way go, what don't we know yet? But can you see what happens is we make all sorts of assumptions. She said not happy. I've heard the words not happy. I know what that is. No, you know what your version of not happy is. Probably zero to do with hers.
Okay.
Find out what hers is, because she can't go there. So you're going to find dissociative mechanisms like, can we talk about anything else, please? And you just go, yeah, we can write that down. Oh, let's come back to, how did you notice you were not happy? What's not happy for you in that moment? Yeah?
Okay.
That's detective work.
Okay.
Wait a little bit because I'm going to say something and then we're going to be stuck here for a while.
That's all right. You could have waved.
Okay, so in that moment, what does that mean for you? The sadness.
Did she get to sadness?
No.
So why are you saying sadness? If
She hasn't got there. If she hasn't said, I'm
I
sad.
did say, that there was probably sadness.
No. Probably sadness is, yeah, somewhere there's a pot of gold over a rainbow. You going to go looking for it? No. You want to go for what it is that she's saying. Go back to the bed. 8 o'clock this morning, 9 o'clock this morning, whatever it was. You want to be noticing this. And the giggle, as soon as you notice it, and how big it gets. Can you see why signal work's so important?
Yeah.
Because what does it look like?
She doesn't want to say something.
Now, can you see that she's saying, can you help me? I'm here in counselling. But can you see one part's here in counselling, one part's saying, fuck, I hope she doesn't say this stuff that she's not meant to know about. And you want to follow it. And now, it's like, quick, in the pocket. And can you see, what are you looking for? Stuff that she doesn't know about. Which means there's got to be a part and a time when it was a good idea for her not to know about stuff. Which is why it's so easy to get lost. But don't fall in with her. Just be a good detective. Keep going. You're doing fabulously. This is such good help for everybody else watching. Yes? Everybody gets lost. And remember, this is probably one of the first time you're doing this ever. So don't expect yourself to be good at it.
Okay. So was there another time? Was there another time when it wasn't a good idea to get out of bed?
You're jumping to training. Stay with this one, because we want to know what's going on here. What stopped you from being happy this morning? How did you know that you weren't happy?
From here? Or from there or from there?
You're lying in bed at 9 o'clock in the morning.
So,
how do you know that you're not happy? How do you notice? So notice
How do you
anything.
notice? Yeah.
Because I was watching something, I was bored with it, I noticed I was getting distracted.
Follow that moment.
And
What was she watching? And can you hear the thing? I was bored with it.
Yeah.
That thing we were talking about,
I
which
was
just tells you
distracted.
about self-distraction, where a part's going, there's another part going, no, you better do this, to find out what would happen if she wasn't doing it. What would she feel?
If she wasn't doing the distraction.
Yeah.
empty.
Empty.
Mm.
Yeah. What's the feeling that goes with empty?
Sad.
Yeah. Bingo.
Right, okay.
Now can you see why it has to be 1 nanosecond?
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't heard. I thought she was just lying in bed. Now we hear, no, she's watching something. Was it on the screen or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now can you see? It's like, but she didn't tell you that. And people are not always going to tell you, yeah, I was shooting up. Yeah, I was binge watching.
Mm-hmm.
I was masturbating. You know, they're not necessarily going to come out with what it is. But can you see? If you hang in there, eventually it pops out. Now you know at least which mechanism you're working with, and you know fourth mechanism, and you know underneath fourth is first, so it's just a matter of getting from one to the other. But now you've got to, now you're on the way.
Yes. Okay. Yes. You
Yeah.
can say that.
She is. She'll help you get there. And
How do you go from empty to something? Yeah. Good question.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't. That's what the rest of the world does. That's what that part of you does. Quick, get out there, go to something. Because we don't like empty because it's sad. Would you want your daughter not to be able to be sad about emptiness? If she felt, no, you see, there it is. Now, no lack of sadness.
just bringing in sensitivity, which is what any child would want. Now get her to follow that.
Okay.
Well, can you see this is the lottery? Yes?
Okay, so
And you got there
Mm.
just by staying in relationship with it. A little bit of help.
a lot of help. Okay, so we've worked out that looking at the screen, that you were getting bored with it. And if that wasn't happening, there would be a feeling of emptiness, which would be sad.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to allow for expression of that. So if I get you to come onto the sensitive card, Dominic. So the sensitive card knows what's ideal for a newborn. So we're going from the adult self-distraction part into the internal override of inner critic in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
Okay, so the sensitive part helps to bring a healthy relationship to expression of feelings. And you can't necessarily access that. Is I'm wondering if we then go to the one moment in time where there was a moment in childhood that kind of matched that empty feeling.
I would say maybe missing my mum, and that would have maybe created that empty feeling and made me sad.
Great, thank you.
It's training.
Mm.
Have we got the
Yeah.
1 moment in time of that?
That's what we were just doing with the.
If you can't
The
feel the
training.
mic on your chin, it's not working.
That's what we're doing. We're on the. I went to here actually, the sensitive, but then I thought, no, because you can't access the sensitive until you've understood it from
Is
the child.
the purpose of the sensitive card?
The purpose of the sensitive card is simply to notice when anything isn't sensitive. Like either when it isn't or it is, as in this part going, get out of bed, don't be sad, we don't know what to do with that. Doesn't sound very sensitive. And when she's going, oh well, empty, why would that be sad? And then just using, well, would you want your child to not be able to be sad about feeling empty? And she goes, oh, and can you see it? It just, this is humanity.
Yes, yeah.
So it's either one or the other. But if she's talking about mum, we want to know which moment of mum. So take her to the training 1 moment in time. We got the one at 8 o'clock this morning in bed.
Yep.
Now let's go to the matching one whenever she says.
Okay, so would there be a moment in childhood that it may or may not be related to missing mum, what you just mentioned to me, that would match this empty feeling, a childhood moment?
So this is not something I remember, but that mum told me that I was looked after by a nanny from the age of 3 months to 1.5 years old, and my sense is that I would have really felt the emptiness of her because I didn't see her all week except the weekend. When she wasn't here, and feeling like there was no one to care for me or so there was a sense of devoid and emptiness of love.
I'm just chiming in here because as a rule of thumb, you could follow the sense of the oral history, and sometimes that's all you've got to work with. But also, I'm just going to suggest that you move forward now, away from the noise. That you at least check whether there's any other moment that she does remember with the same thing, because it's so usual and likely that this stuff repeats itself a lot. So you want to just at least ask that question.
Okay.
Was there a time that you remember where mum wasn't around and you wanted her to be around? Something like that. Just so that, and if you get nowhere, then you go back to the oral history.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you check the mic?
Okay, so we have a moment in time from before your memory was fully developed.
Yeah.
Can you think of another time in childhood where there may have been a similar kind of feeling where mum wasn't there?
For whatever reason.
I was trying to remember that, but it's like I know that it was there, but I actually can't remember. I remember the moments where, for example, there was, Dad would get angry and things like that, but the absences, when Mum was not around, I know it was there, but I can't remember.
Now, this is classic dissociative mechanisms, because she's saying, I know they're there, but I don't have, it's above my pay grade. And so you want to use the absence. You want to go, why is it that a part of you would make that stuff unavailable to you? And you already know the answer.
Because it's dissociative.
Well, why is it dissociative? What would happen if she actually remembered?
Painful.
Exactly. So that's what I mean by what's the pain? The sadness. So can you hear that without even knowing the information, you know that there's a part that says we can't deal with sadness, which means that you know that she was trained not to be able to deal with sadness, which tells you that she will have been sad and she will have been ignored, which is why the modelling is ignoring. And that's, of course, it's harder to work with because it's an absence, not a presence. She remembers the angry, she doesn't remember the modelling of, no, if you're sad, you just make it disappear, which is what she's describing to you. You're going, oh my God, I can't find it, as opposed to, oh, thank you for showing me that there's a part who makes the stuff unable to be found called dissociation. Do you get it? So keep going, you're on good, you're going well.
Okay, so there's a training there that doesn't allow for that sadness. It's easier to be ignored or to be put away rather than
Run
be
her
expressed.
through what we just realised. Just go, why might this information be missing from you? Because it's no good for us to be aware of it. You have to get her to notice, shit, I've got toes, but I can't feel them. And go looking for them. Because all she's got is nothing. Even though she says, I know it's there. So can you see, you've got to work with the file clerk who says, no access for you. And you know why. But you've got to get her to follow those.
Yeah, so increasing awareness to follow the trail.
Ask her whether she wants to stay out of the loop when it comes to her own information. Sometimes they're going to say, yes, I do.
Sure, yeah.
And you need to work with that too.
Yeah. David just said sometimes people won't want to know more information about why they're dissociated from memories, and yes, that it's too painful. So there's a part, as I'm noticing, where there's an absence of memory through our childhood. Because sometimes in early childhood we don't have the memory, but later in childhood we do start planting down memories. And as you just mentioned to me, nothing comes to mind. Yeah. So I'm just noticing the absence. It's all or it's like what Mum was saying to me.
you know, and what I remembered from her, that she was, you know, a little bit aloof, not really present. Yeah. She was, you know, her and Dad were more into each other than they were interested in their kids. So I think there was an absence there.
Yeah.
So as I'm noticing you talk about a number of absences where parents
But I don't remember them.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's like an undercurrent, but a sense, even though you may not remember them specifically, maybe a sense of if I get you to stand on this card of fear, which is also to do with a sense of abandonment. Would that fit?
Yeah, probably fear. Being alone.
I probably felt fear of being alone.
Yeah, so on this card it says this is usually only accurate in childhood contexts where abandonment equals death. So would that be correct for you, Dominique, where that sense of aloneness has a deathful-like quality to it? Like it's a catastrophic feeling?
I think I probably dissociated from that, or, you know, split and did something to not feel the pain of it.
Yeah, okay. If we come to the dissociated card, I'm just following your breadcrumbs, as it were. So dissociating from that feeling. The adult part normally should be able to express itself freely, but in this case it's a child part which cannot express that. Does it feel like there's some as you're kind of tapping into that? I'm just looking at this, the anger part. It says the dissociated part can sometimes override the anger. I guess because anger is not acceptable either.
Yeah.
One step forward.
Yay! What's the step?
So Dominic expressed the dissociative part from stopping her from feeling the emptiness,
I said I probably dissociated in order not to
Feel the pain of being abandoned.
Yeah, which Which means that
this part, which is, like we said, a combination of adult, adolescent, goes, we've got to watch some screens. We've got to do anything to get up, be busy, watch screens, anything other than the sadness behind the emptiness, the abandonment. Can you hear all of these, the stuff that's in the book to do with anger, criticism, intimidation, fear, paralysis, abandonment? In other words, criticism is an intimidation. You can see it. It's an action. It's a doing. Paralysis, abandonment, is a not doing, a neglect, an inaction, an invisible, visible, invisible. I'm saying them so diametrically so that they're imprinted in your mind to look for one or the other, because it's absolutely ones and zeros. Yes, it's going to be harder with someone when all of their signals are in abandonment and paralysis, but when you've worked with that for a little while, you will see them like dog's balls. At the moment, it's like, oh, well, how do we work with a nothing? But the nothing is so important. The amount of people who are going to come to you as someone who's adopted and they go, no, I never met my parents. There's nothing, nothing there. And you want to go, hello, whoa, hello. And they're going to go, what do you want? And you have to slowly get them to notice the absence, because the job of the other parts has been to not notice the absence because it's so sad.
Yeah.
Are we going to die from sadness? No. So, then you want to go that one step further, which is these parts somehow learned that the best way to deal with sadness is to distract. They were not born like that. Help her find out what the training is for that. And then we will eat.
Well, which we kind of did.
Oh,
Is that, so there's a training, where we discovered there was this undercurrent, but not necessarily a one moment in time.
Then it's no good. In other
But
words,
how do you get someone to remember?
Well, let's work with it. How do these parts know to, when sadness has come along the path, get busy, distract yourself? Were they born like that? Can you come on camera? Just stay associated here. Simple question. Is anyone born dissociating, distracting, watching screens? No. So then it's a simple question. Where between being born and ... 63 if you like, but, before you leave home, where is their training around, no, we don't do sadness. We get busy. We distract ourselves.
I tried to remember, I can't remember.
Oh, really? That sounds like a dissociative mechanism, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now the question is, why might it be important not to remember?
Because it's painful.
Yeah. And especially if you are what mum and dad are distracting themselves from. While they're going off and distracting themselves from their own sadness, who gets abandoned?
Me.
Now can you understand why no one in their right mind would want to re-experience that feeling? Because it's a feeling of, well, I could die here. What if they don't come back and don't feed me? And it doesn't matter whether it's the nanny or them or... So can you see there's some work to do to kind of go, to go from a complete absence, would you like to know?
Yeah.
Okay, then you need to spend some time going from zero to leaving home, going, in what ways did mum or dad, or both of them, distract themselves? get busy in a way that possibly had me left behind. Not
They'd enjoy being with their friends and
Where would you be?
remember, probably in my bedroom.
Bells should be going off here. As soon as I don't know, I don't remember. You just help and go. This is all your information. You get them to get curious about why they don't have their own information. Even though she at the end there she said, "Oh, you're in my bedroom." Next question.
I'm
one
guessing.
moment in
I
time.
don't
Yeah.
remember.
Of course. But your guess is the best guess in the universe, is it not? No one else could make a guess better than you about this. Is that clear? And if you were in the bedroom, which bedroom would it be?
I don't remember. It's like that. I'm remembering holidays, so that
Yes.
would be a holiday house.
Yes, holiday house. So, this is the police identikit. We don't have the actual photo. What we've got is a few people who saw the guy or the woman, yes? So, do the holiday house. What bedroom are you in? And where are they?
Because it could be any age, right? We're not looking for earliest. Possible.
In this
You
case,
could pull one from-
this is stuff that would usually take sessions. And I'm just kind of helping to get surgical with it.
Yeah.
But follow whatever scarrick crumb of information, and you want to notice. One part of her says,
oh yeah, in a bedroom. The other part goes, oh, but you don't know. In the same way that how many abuse victims go, oh well, I think it was Uncle Johnny. And you go, well, do you know that? Do you know that? Have you got proof? It's like, no, but you go with whatever it is that's there and you follow it to see. There'll be a particular point in time where it's like you'll be able to ask the question, is there any doubt in your mind that this happened? Once you've got the police identikit, you get them to look at the picture and go, and then it's like, yeah, like the bank tellers, they go, yeah, that looks like it.
Because
Yes.
the trigger sensation will be there,
Well,
right?
it is there. That's what she's following. And you know that there is parts who for 60 years have been going, best you not know anything about this, which is why you don't want to be bothered by the fact she can't remember. You want to be going, wow, how amazing that parts of you are able to take your information and make it disappear for 60 years. That is pretty amazing, is it not?